are in the appropriations room. So good morning, everybody. This is the Appropriations Committee of the Maine Legislature. And we're here today to have a brief meeting about a financial order that has to do with making funds available for the checks that are going out to people for COVID/inflation relief. So before we get started on our business, I would like to have the folks who are in the appropriations room, starting with Representative Hymanson, introduce themselves. I am not hearing anything. I don't know. Is anybody else?
Yeah,
No.
I'm not either.
House
Oh,
House
there's
District
okay.
151
Great.
and northwestern Aroostook County.
Thank you. Can you, Representative Hymanson, can you repeat your introduction, please?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Oh, great. Okay, I am Representative Patty Hymanson. I represent House District 4, which is parts of York, Wells, Sanford, and all of Ogunquit.
Great. And it looks like Senator Davis is there.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, my name is Paul Davis. I represent Senate District 4, which is all of Piscataquis County and parts of Somerset and Penobscot.
All right. And Representative Millett.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Sowen Millet, House District 71, towns of Norway, Sweden, Waterford, and West Paris.
Okay. And also in the room, it looks like we have our analyst, Maureen Dawson, and acting as our clerk, Mandy, who used to be Mandy Shorey, but has a new name. I apologize. and Jenny Boyden from the DAF's department. And so why don't we go around the Zoom now, and I will ask Representative Cardone to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Barbara Cardone. I represent House District 127, part of Bangor.
Thank you. Representative Fay.
Morning, everyone. I'm Jessica Fay. I represent House District 66, which is parts of the towns of Casco, Poland, and Raymond.
Representative Cloutier.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kristen Cloutier, and I represent House District 60, which is part of my hometown of Lewiston.
And Senator Bailey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am Donna Bailey, proudly serving the people of Senate District 31, which is in northern York County.
Great. And my wonderful co-chair, Representative Peirce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Teresa Peirce. I represent House District 44, which is the majority of Falmouth, and I'm honored to serve as the House Chair of AFA.
And my name is Kathy Breen. I represent 6.5 communities in Cumberland County, and I serve as Senate Chair of Appropriations. So I believe does anybody have any questions before we give Ms. Boyden the floor to talk about the financial order? All right, I will turn it over to you, Ms. Boyden.
Thank you. Good morning, Senator Breen, Representative Peirce, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Appropriations and Financial Affairs. I am Jenny Boyden, Associate Commissioner of the Department of Administrative and Financial Services. Thank you for taking the time to gather today to act on our financial order waiver request. The department is requesting a waiver of the 30-day wait on financial order ADM 000079. This financial order increases the allotment in the COVID pandemic relief payment program above the legislative allocation. Section L2 of the supplemental budget authorized the transfer of $729.3 million from the general fund to the Department of Administrative and Financial Services COVID pandemic relief payment program, other special revenue fund account, for the purpose of providing payments to help eligible residents of the state recover from the economic effects of the pandemic. The budget allocated $320.9 million in this fiscal year and the remaining $408.4 million in fiscal year 23 to fund the $850 payments. Maine Revenue Services worked diligently and programming went very smoothly. MRS will begin processing payments the first week of June, actually at the end of this week. The department projects processing capacity at approximately 200,000 checks per week. That would mean 800,000 of the 858,000 could go out in June. At the rate of 200,000 checks per week, we will exceed the fiscal year 22 allotment in the second week of processing. We are requesting the additional allotment to ensure that the department is able to process all payments as soon as administratively feasible. Assuming there are no glitches, we could send out a significant portion of the checks by the end of June. Processing will continue into fiscal year 23. Of course, we will continue to let people know about filing their 2021 tax return, especially those who don't normally file a tax return. Maine Equal Justice Partners is conducting an outreach effort to encourage Maine people who wouldn't normally file a tax return to do so. They will continue through the summer until mid-November. AARP Maine's Foundation is running special drop-in tax prep events in Southern Maine, specifically to help non-filers qualify for the $850 payments. We've also worked with more public-facing departments like the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, the Department of Labor, the Secretary of State's Bureau of Motor Vehicle to get the word out. Anya Trundy has contacted the 4 legislative offices to try and ensure that the best and most accurate information regarding the $850 checks is included in their constituent newsletters, which are sent to every mailing address in the House and Senate districts. So that's 2 touches per address. One thing that may slow down processing is envelopes. We ordered 800,000 envelopes in February. While we were expecting them before now, the vendor is telling us it may be late June, early July. We have approximately 250,000 envelopes on hand, and we'll use those until they are gone. The Office of the State Treasurer has envelopes we will use as a contingency. We continue to work with the Division of Procurement Services and the vendor to understand and, if possible, mitigate any delay. As discussed throughout the budget process, and as we watch food and gas prices stay high, we want to get checks out as soon as possible. Increasing the allotment in this account will ensure that we can process as many payments as soon as possible. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Associate Commissioner Boyden. Are there any questions for the Associate Commissioner? I'll guess I would ask folks in the room first to just raise your hand, like literally raise your hand up high if you have a question. I am not seeing any.
Madam Chair, I think Representative Millett just.
Thank you, Representative Millett. You gave me a wave. I appreciate that. Representative Millett.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Ms. Boyden. You've answered all my questions by the clarity of your statement, except for just a couple of interpretations. And as you said, the language in Part L authorizes the full transfer of the $729.3 million on or before the end of this month, or the end of June. So there's no question in my mind, but this is a straightforward allotment waiver. And it's very clear that the amount that you're asking is the amount that was specified for FY23, and your chronology of getting payments out there quickly makes it obvious that what we're being asked to do today makes all kinds of sense. One question that I did have is, in the event that you don't get all of the $729.3 million out by the end of June, which is probably likely, there will be some residue. This allotment and the mechanics for which you're operating on will allow you to continue to carry that money into FY23 and pay additional payments as they are ready to be processed.
That's correct. This does not adjust the allocation that the legislature provided for fiscal year 23. So as we move into fiscal 23, we will continue to have that allotment available to continue to make payments, which we will need to do because people have until October to file their 2021 tax return.
Right. Second thing on that point you just ended, I really appreciate the effect that, or the fact that organizations are promoting this notion that low-income families and or payers and retirees that haven't been in the habit of filing a return are being given help and advice to do that. Are there any time limits on how late that those those filings can be made. I'm assuming there are some people that didn't ask for the 6-month waiver and consequently may still be learning about their options now. Can they continue to file after June 30th? And is there a deadline when they must actually file a return?
I can request that information from the state the tax assessor. I don't know that offhand, but I can find out and get back to you.
Yeah. I know we all continue to get questions from people, and I think we're all answering it the same way. If you haven't done it in the past, you can and should do it now, and organizations are there to help you do it. And one last question, Jenny. You mentioned the envelope issue as a slowdown. Is Maine Revenue Services or DAFS in its larger role able to make electronic transfers? And if so, do you have an estimate of how much or how many of them may be processed electronically versus mail?
To the best of my knowledge, these are all going out as paper checks. During the session, I think we talked about some of the constraints that existed with the electronic payments regarding bank account changes, people who use tax prep filing services who had their refunds directed to those tax preparers. So those are some of the issues that led us to the all paper check path. So I'm not aware that any are going out as EFTs.
Thank you, Jenny.
Representative Hymanson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you, you said this a number of times, how many checks are going out per week?
200,000.
Thank you.
Representative Martin?
Thank you. This today. And so you're going to be starting the checks on the beginning of June?
Correct.
And because I've already filled out for some people who come into my office at home, and I think I've filled 4 so far for people elderly and on Social Security who had no reason to file. And it was kind of interesting as to where do I put the zeros? But we're done. I mean, I did them and they're gone. And so hopefully everyone out there is trying to help people let people know. And that's really an issue, I think. So so 200,000 a week, and hopefully the envelopes, you get in envelopes to do all of June.
Between the stock that Maine Revenue Services and the stock at the Office of the State Treasurer, we should have enough to make it through June.
You always come over and get legislative.
I was about to make that same suggestion that perhaps the legislature would be willing to chip in some envelopes.
Right, because we've got all kinds of, that's still here that legislators have not taken home. So certainly, we certainly could help there, I'm sure. Thank you.
Any other questions from folks in the room at the moment? All right, looks like Representative Peirce, you had your hand up a little earlier.
I just wanted to clarify that there's not, these checks don't go out alphabetically. They don't go out by region. They go out once you've processed your tax return and then it gets in the queue. Is that an accurate way for people to sort of be thinking about this?
As far as I know, yes. They're not alphabetical.
Right. And then I just didn't know if there weren't any other questions, if you'd want to have a motion on this, Madam Chair.
I wanted to see if there are any questions from folks who are in the Zoom, and then I have a question after, if not. Anyone on the screen have a question? Okay. Oh, Representative Hymanson, let me just ask my question, then I'll go back to you if you don't mind. Associate Commissioner Boyden, if I recall correctly, there's a portal that has been set up for folks to go on to the State of Maine website and get some information about these checks. Is that correct? And if so, could you say the address out loud?
I cannot say the address out loud. Maureen, are you pulling that up for me? Thank you.
All right, Maureen's getting it. Great. But there is a portal, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so why don't we go to Representative Hymanson's question, and then we'll go back to that portal piece. So Representative Hymanson, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just anticipating phone calls from constituents. So when the checks don't come to the person by mid-July and we start to get phone calls, when will my check come? What should be the answer to that? Wait,
I believe that this portal may provide some information, but we intend to process checks as the funds are available for this month. And then I would expect them to be processed beginning immediately in July as well.
so if we could say checks on its way, it'll take some time. But if you don't get your check by this date, give me a call back.
I think the portal that Maureen is pulling up.
Okay,
may
would be
have-
the place to have people go.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that portal is through the Maine Revenue Services website, which is through maine.gov, but the portal is portal.maine.gov/refund status/payment. And we will put a link on the AFA materials page with the permission of the Associate Commissioner for anybody who didn't catch that. So that would be under AFA materials. Again, it's portal.maine.gov/refund status, one word, /payment. Portal.
Great.
I think I'm doing a commercial here, but portal.maine.gov/refund status/payment. And again, that's through the Maine Revenue Services website. So if you just get on Maine Revenue Services, you can probably navigate your way to it.
and maybe just to forego other phone calls from representatives, having that available preemptively to all the state reps would be great, just to give them a heads up. That's where to send constituents or
Certainly.
themselves.
There is a
Yeah.
phone number on that webpage. It's 207-624-9924. But I imagine that they would prefer you start with the website and see if you
Yeah.
can get your questions answered.
Great, thank you.
All right. I'm glad we were able to get the portal out, and we'll continue to push that out in our communications. So Representative Peirce, I think I don't see any more questions. So I would suggest you go ahead and make a motion to waive the 30-day requirement.
Thank you. And I realize I actually don't have the financial order number in front of me, but I make a motion to waive the 30-day waiver on the financial order that deals with the $850 checks being mailed to Mainers in a more timely fashion. Do we need the number of that financial order?
I don't think so. I think it's a pretty clear motion.
Thank you.
Is there a second? Somebody in the room seconded. Was that Senator Davis? Representative Martin. All right. Any further discussion before we take a vote? All right, I'm going to have people on the screen vote first. So all in favor, hold up your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And those in the room, hold up your hand. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, any opposed? Okay, it looks like we have unanimous vote on the motion. Associate Commissioner Boyden, is there anything else you need from us before we adjourn?
No, just thank you all for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you very much for bringing it forward. Maureen, anything you need from us before we adjourn?
No, again, to reiterate, thank you for your willingness and your responsiveness when I put the word out. I really appreciate how quickly everybody got back to me.
Sure thing. All right, I think with that, I will call the meeting adjourned, and thank you, everybody. Have a good, safe week.